So what demographics could benefit each party as far as turnout? Diving deeper into this all is our Christelle Bell in our political roundtable. Hey, Christelle.
Yeah, Christelle Bell here, voice of America Votes, and election coverage continuing. So we're having our panel discussion. We're talking about what demographics we're seeing that's going to turn out for the voters or the election tonight. We know that we've seen a lot of people talk about how white women can determine this race as far as the presidential election. I know you were interested, Reginald, in talking about how we could see, or what you want to see would happen with suburban white women. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, one of the things that have been, that has amplified Arizona has been Prop 139, which is the abortion initiative, and sort of the combination of younger voters, voters of color, and women. That was sort of their pathway to victory, and within that was white suburban women. But when you look at some of the data, you're seeing a lot of white women leaning toward Trump. But that's not synonymous, the lean toward Trump, but they also look like they're supporting Prop 139. So I'm really curious to see the probable success of Prop 139. Will that translate to Harris support? And I'm not sure at this time.
Yeah, what are we talking about as far as with male voters, that young male voter coming out for Trump? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. If you take Arizona as a swing state and look at the data we're seeing right now, we have 0 of 3 independent voters. That means they have not voted for the last 3 elections. 50% of them are male voters. That's the exact target demographic that a lot of these PACs on the Trump side of the ledger, like Elon Musk America PAC, were targeting. If they were successful in turning out that segment of the voting population, that could serve potentially as a counterbalance to what we saw in 2020 with white suburban women who went strongly for Biden over Trump.
Yeah, and what do you go? I mean, and when you also look at the terms of when we look down and start to see party lines splitting, we see here in Arizona, we have Proposition 139, and folks are not necessarily leaning towards Trump. It's going to be very tricky to see what happens, because they may not necessarily, and it goes back to that white woman vote, we might not see the same situation as straight Republican or straight Democrat in this particular election.
No, I think it's highly unlikely. That said, this is one of the first elections I can remember that hours into it, we still have no idea what direction this is going. I think you look at places, big turnout in Philadelphia, that hasn't come out. She's overperforming some places in Pennsylvania, in Virginia, a little closer than it probably most people expected. She's going to win it. And so there's not really a definitive picture of what's happening yet, and that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. I mean, and then I also like your point of view, because you talked about it. We didn't see a lot of, do you feel like Harris did enough to separate herself from Biden? Because we understand, you said in 2020, it wasn't necessarily people voting for Biden. It was people actually just not wanting Trump.
I do believe that. I do believe that really very few people outside of maybe the state of Delaware and Biden's family actually voted for him. They really voted against Donald Trump. And that does, Harris has done, from my perspective as a professional Republican, she's done enough. Her debate was good enough. Her speeches have been good enough. She hasn't really offered much of a vision outside of Democrat talking points, but she's done her part. So to me, both here in Arizona and around the country, it's really a referendum on Donald Trump. Do they want to go back to the Trump years? Are they willing to have, a strong 401k and low inflation, but put up with some of the bad that goes with Donald Trump as well? So that's sort of the big story so far.
All right, we'll continue this discussion coming up in our next half hour. We're not done. We'll send it back to you guys.
Okay, Christelle, thank you. Now let's take a look at some of the other races on Arizona's ballot tonight that we should be getting numbers on in just about 40 minutes.
Yeah, again, Arizona is deciding who will represent them in Congress. House District 4 sees incumbent Greg Stanton challenged by Kelly Cooper. Now, this district includes Ahwatukee, parts of Tempe, Mesa, and Chandler.
We're also watching House District 5. That includes parts of Mesa, Chandler, Gilbert, Queen Creek, and Santan Valley. Katrina Schaffner is challenging incumbent Andy Biggs. Biggs, though, seeking his 5th term here.
House District 7 is the second largest congressional district across the state, running along the Arizona-Mexico border. We're seeing Raul Grijalva is being challenged by Daniel Frances Gutierrez Sr.